She's an internationally renowned shaman and is also the author of the book Animal Power. Alyson Charles Storey is who Forbes has called a leading shaman. Huffington Post has even recognized her as a top limit-breaking female founder. Alyson joins us today to discuss her own transformative spiritual awakening, which has led her on a path to changing lives all over the world. Plus, she's teaching us how we can all become alchemists, turning our darkness into light. This is Advocate Now. Well, first, I want to start by saying that Alyson and I met while hosting a wellness show together about a decade ago, and you were so influential in my awakening journey. We have both been through very powerful and transformative spiritual awakenings, which, might be difficult for some people to understand, but it's typically a grueling and equally magical experience that can lead to incredible breakthroughs. So I want to get a little bit into your experience, which has led you to do the work that you're currently doing. Tell us a little bit about your journey.
Well, firstly, thank you for having me, Sonia. It's so good to be back on the airwaves together with you. And like you said, we go way back at this point, and my life has drastically changed from the time we hosted that former talk show. And what's really fascinating is when I look back in hindsight, my divine intervention and spiritual awakening moment was simultaneously both the most anguishing, terrifying, discombobulating time of my life, along with it being the most miraculous and enlightening time of my life. And I have traversed through many other rites of passages and many other initiations in the decades since that initial grandest spiritual awakening. And I've really found a formula that allows one to become an alchemist. And what I mean by that is you can truly learn how to trust yourself to navigate through the greatest turmoil and chaos and hardest times of your life, and learn how to ascend through them, learn how to feel your feelings through them, and learn how to maintain your shine even when the beep hits the fan. So I love to guide people through it now.
And based on your experiences, everything you learned and the work that you're doing now, today you're going to share some really incredible information to, as you said, help people claim their golden era, maintain their shine through really tough times. It's a 4-part formula. So take us through the process.
So the first step is tuning into and getting connected with your emotions, with your emotional body. We're all such multifaceted, multidimensional beings. We've got all these different components of us. And that's sometimes where the confusion comes in. It's just like, what's going on? How am I feeling? Where am I? Who is this person? What's going on here? And so step number 1 is tuning into your emotions. And it can be as simple as closing your eyes, taking a moment of breath, taking a moment of connection to your own heart. I usually put one hand on my heart center, one hand on my lower belly. And I breathe and I just simply ask myself, what am I really feeling here? And then step number 2 is we're going into our physical vessel, our physical bodies. And this is another really key place because we need our physical body to know that it's safe. Because when our physical body is dysregulated and all sorts of things are being secreted, hormones, adrenaline, things are running rampant in our body, that again can create more chaos and turmoil. And we're really trying to re-regulate our physical body. And so again, it's a simple practice of telling your body that it's safe. And again, going inward. You're going to see the key in all of these 4 steps is an inward process, an inward practice. So we're going to ask our body, we're going to tune in and we're going to ask our body, where am I not feeling safe? Or where is that emotion of fear living? And I promise you, even if you're someone that's not, on the spiritual path or is not used to this type of meditative work, you will be surprised when you ask we're such highly intelligent beings. When you ask your own physical body what it needs or where the fear is living, you will hear or feel or be taken to that answer. And then the next important part of step number 2 is once you kind of go to that area, asking your body what it needs. Sometimes, like my husband, Luke, he's a huge advocate for ice baths. He's in our backyard in our ice bath, like sometimes 3-4 times a day. And I never go into the ice bath. So you might need ice. You might need a sauna. You might need massage. You might need community, but your body will always tell you.
And what is the third step?
The third step is the one that you and I could probably talk for the rest of the day about. It's our spiritual body. And we're starting to weave our way into that with talking about the sacred smoke. But the reason I think the spiritual aspect of ourself is probably the most important of the 4 steps is because it's here where we take radical responsibility. And this is the piece that sometimes people tend to skip over because it can be the most uncomfortable. Because in the spiritual investigation, we're looking at what are the teachings here? Why is this pattern coming back again? And perhaps the most scary, what was my role in this? Where can I take responsibility? And when I had my awakening, it was through realizing I had been in an abusive relationship for almost 2 decades. That was a rude awakening because I had to ask myself, what was going on inside of me that I let myself be dishonored and abused for almost 20 years? That's a huge question, but it's in that exploration that we really find the greatest liberation.
And we have to not be afraid to look in all the dark corners because that's where the answers lie, right?
Yeah, that classic Joseph Campbell quote, "The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek." And shadow work is absolutely the key.
It is. Okay. And step number 4.
Step number 4, I wanted to put the head part, the mind part, the mental part last. I really feel like we need to learn how to trust what our heart is telling us, what our soul is telling us, what our connection to Great Mother Earth and Great Spirit is telling us before we get into our mind. Because oftentimes our mind just holds a lot of outdated circuitry and outmoded patterns. And when we're devoted to evolving and facing ourselves and doing all this evolutionary work, we don't want to go to our heads first because you might just be in an old way that is actually not who you are anymore. So we go through the emotion, the physical, the spiritual before we arrive to, okay, I've identified how I'm feeling. Okay, I felt relief. Now I know what my physical body needs to feel safe. I tended to that. I'm already feeling better. Now I've gone through the spiritual exploration. What was my role here? What are the shadow aspects that I need to work on? Now you go to the mental where you can identify a game plan moving forward. That might be, maybe you've never done therapy or you haven't gone to a therapist in years, but based upon what you just went through, it was really traumatic. And maybe EMDR therapy is the thing you need. Or maybe for the first time in your life, you need to set hard and clear boundaries. And that's been something that you've been terrified of, but based upon the first 3 steps, you have arrived to clarity that, oh my gosh, this thing I've been avoiding doing, telling this person that I need space and I need no contact, I know I have to do it right now.
Alyson, thank you so much. And folks can head to AlysonCharles.com/animal power to purchase your animal power book and deck. They'll also receive a free video drumming shamanic journey that you guide people through. And make sure you also check out Alyson's podcast, Ceremony Circle, which we will have to get into another time. Incredible.
I would love to have you on sometime. Now that I've been on your show, you can come on mine.
And we'll have you back as well. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Sonia.
I'm Sonia Baghdadi. Thanks for watching and advocating. For more stories and content like this, visit advocate.com and advocatechannel.com.